Hey guys, as we all know, on Saturday, more than 4 million Americans in communities across the nation rallied peacefully to demonstrate their opposition to the actions of Donald Trump. Here in Red, South Carolina, thousands joined the protests, including at two rallies in Myrtle Beach, where I live. No Kings was the battle cry as everyday Americans spoke out loud and clear that they will not allow our country, the land of the free, to be co opted by a would be dictator, tyrant. Speaking at those Myrtle Beach rallies was Democrat John Vincent, a retired U.S. Navy Command Master Chief and businessman, who is seeking to unseat MAGA Representative Russell Fry, a Trump loyalist who has done nothing to represent the people of our area. Hey, John, welcome to the Lean to the Left podcast.
Hey, it's always good to see you, Bob. I hope you're doing okay, brother.
I'm doing fine. Listen, tell us about your experience at the rally, John. How'd that go?
The enthusiasm was very good. The focus was pretty tight on the tyranny and just the general direction that Trump and the MAGA folks are taking us. In my perspective, from the time I spoke, which was completely just focused on the tyranny. The reaction and the engagement of the crowd was extremely, extremely good. When I got done speaking, I literally couldn't get off stage. I had to sit down because there were other speakers and I didn't want to be rude, but there were so many people that wanted to chat or to volunteer or,
Wow.
what else can we do that I was probably there, Bob, for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Just 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 2 minutes here before I could get off stage. So I would say to sum it up, Bob, there was not only enthusiasm, which is great, but what's more important is focus and people going, okay, what else do we do here? The protest is awesome because it lets you know you're not alone, and you can share a common voice. And there's some safety and security that comes along with that. But what I saw this time is with not as much encouragement as I typically have to do, people getting engaged and saying, okay, enough. What can we do? So I would say it went extremely well.
Well, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person to see it. Now, what was your message to the people? What was your core message? What'd you tell them?
My core message was to just get people hyper focused on what Trump's agenda really is, because he's so overly confident that he's not even veilingly pretending. He's doing a lot of distraction, but you don't have to look any further than federalizing 4,000 National Guard, sending 700 active duty Marines. I mean, he has literally deployed more military to Los Angeles than we have in Iraq and Syria combined,
Oh, jeez.
to a city in the United States.
Right.
So I wanted people to really understand the fact that if we allow ourselves to be desensitized to that, like,
Right.
well, the Marines didn't actually kill civilians, so, it's okay. Because in my opinion, what I shared with the people, Bob, is this is a test. He's testing the waters on the will of the people to go, no, 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 no. I mean, this other stuff is crazy enough, but this is literally, I mean, I shared with them Christy Nome. Everybody knows what happened to Padilla when he was knocked down and cuffed. But actually, the reason he asked those questions is because he heard what Nome said before that. And what she said is the military is not going anywhere anytime soon until we liberate, this is a quote, Los Angeles from the socialists. The Secretary of Homeland Security literally said they're going to basically have a coup in Los Angeles to replace them. And that got missed by most reporting. But I brought it up to them. And basically, I want people to understand, and as we've talked about before, Bob, this is not a Republican and a Democratic issue. If we can break through to people, and this is all, I'm just giving you a recap of what I said from stage,
Yeah, yeah.
which is, we have to get past this who voted for who last time. This is a whole different ballgame. A third of this country, it's hardcore MAGA. It's okay. We're not touching them. They will literally do anything. But 2/3 of this country is not.
That's true.
And there's 17%. The data's there. It's very, 17% of people, they're working two jobs. They weren't happy with the job that President Biden did, whatever. So they took a flyer on Trump. Doesn't matter that I don't get it. They did. But
Right.
those people are completely gettable. And I have absolutely no doubt if they can understand what's going on here, which this isn't theoretical. The dude is deploying troops into U.S. cities. And this morning talked about immigration and said, you know what? We don't want to hurt basically red states. So I might send more military into Los Angeles, more military into Chicago, more into those blue cities.
Right.
Lawmakers killed on Saturday, and this guy's stoking even more this morning about the radical Democrats are killing our country. So my message, Bob, was just focused on please try not to get distracted, because the only way we can make right what he's doing in immigration, the only thing we can make right with the damage he's already done with our allies around the world, is we have to have a country to make right.
Right. Right.
He wants
Exactly.
us distracted. And I just pleaded with people in my, sort of assertive way, don't let that happen. 4 million, 5 million, 6 million people over and over again saying one thing. No, we're not putting troops on the ground, because those troops listen to that, right? They're not
Right.
thrown in test tubes. They have brothers and sisters and moms and dads.
Right.
And if some of them are going, is this crap even lawful? The answer is no, it's not.
Right. Right.
But we need to stay on that. What he's counting on is we do two things in America. Until you start shooting people, what's the worst that can happen? So he's counting on us to be sort of compliant.
Right. Right.
And he's also counting on us to chase the shiny objects, of which there's 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I just told people, please stay focused. Please understand what's at stake. And I'll share with your listeners here. I've said this for probably 30 years since I first started seeing this happen in the military. And we're seeing that with what's going on in Los Angeles. A combination of intentionally and unintentionally by Democrats and Republicans, we have softened what the military is for. We have allowed it for the military to be police, protect, serve, stand on street corners, make sure everything's going to be okay. Soft regime change type of things like that. And that started when I was on active duty, and I was very troubled by it. Because the military doesn't train to protect and serve. So you have a huge mismatch when you.
So what's the military do if it doesn't do that?
The military only has two purposes, Bob: to kill people and blow shit up. That's it.
Okay.
On submarines, it was the opposite. My job was to blow shit up, i.e., surface ships, other submarines, and then therefore kill the people on those surface ships.
Right.
But when you ask for a Marine, General Mattis said it best, Bob. 4-star, called him Mad Dog, 4-star Marine, and he said, when you meet folks, you be polite, you be professional, and you have a plan to kill them.
Okay.
That's what Marines do. Marines don't go into an American city and stand on a corner and say, please don't throw a bottle at me. That's not polite.
Right.
These guys at 29 Palms, Bob, they're trained in urban combat. That's what their specialty is. Yeah. These guys are clearing houses. These guys are sniping. These guys are not standing outside a milkshake shop. So that's what the military's for. Kill people, blow shit up. But we've allowed the public to think that they're there to be nice. But the military's not being trained to be nice. That's not our job.
Right.
Okay. We go in, we do what we need to do, and we get out. Then you bring in NATO. Then you bring in peacekeepers. But our military is not there for police action. And you sure as heck shouldn't be doing that in the United States, because we're one 18-year-old Marine getting hit in the side of the head with a bottle away from opening up with an automatic weapon. We just are.
Yeah.
And that situation was created for absolutely no reason. I don't know if your listeners know this, your viewers know this, Bob, but in Los Angeles at the height, when Trump started, hey, we're losing the city, the Dems can't handle it. At its absolute height, it was about 4 square blocks in downtown. To put that in perspective, this is less than half a mile in a city that encompasses 500 square miles.
Okay.
This was an extremely tiny, I'm not saying it's great to burn cars. I'm not saying it's great to break in buildings. Those guys should get arrested and prosecuted.
Right.
But Trump, especially with his loyalists, is that the entire city is under siege. People, we know lots of people that live in LA. If not for the news coverage, most people we know wouldn't have known this was going on. That's how small this was. And he
Okay.
deploys more people, military people, than we have in Syria and Iraq. This isn't a joke. It's extremely terrifying.
Yeah. All right. So that you shared your message to the people there. What
Yes.
message did you come away with after those rallies?
Meaning, what did I learn?
Yeah. What did you learn? How did you feel afterwards?
This is the first time, Bob, that I had any sense that people are actually starting to understand. It's almost like it's been theoretical and scary to this point. It's no longer theoretical.
Yeah.
I got the sense from the brief conversations I had. I got the sense from the follow-up I got on social media. I got the sense that people are going, oh, whoa, this is like a military takeover of the United States.
Yeah.
So the sense I got is there was a bit more urgency, which has always upset me since we launched in March, is that do people not understand what's going on here?
Yeah.
I think they're beginning to. I'm not saying they do, Bob, because these people are the most all in, the most politically aware, and it's still not overwhelming. But it's definitely a different tone. So I left going, okay, I think we're trending toward understanding what's on the line here as Americans.
Okay.
We're not where we need to be, though, but
All right.
We're better.
Okay. So in your opinion, what needs to happen to save our country from this stuff that's going
on? Two things. We need the courts. Organizations like the ACLU, the attorney generals of the states, particularly the Democratic states, no surprise there. We have to continue to challenge in court. Trump is going to do what I've been following this guy since the 70s. Trump does what he wants to do, invites people to sue him, continues to do what he wants to do until he gets an injunction, and then he litigates. He's doing the same thing. I mean, how do you shut down USAID? Well, you just shut it down. You freeze the money. And by the time the courts say you can't do that, everybody's gone. All the food is rotted. He's achieved the same purpose. So what people have to do is the courts have to hold the line. And then we have to do two things. We have to continue to protest with a focus, which is, no, we the people. I don't know who those guys are, whatever. I don't want them to be hurt. I don't want them to be arrested if they're not doing anything, but I don't want anything to do with them. Our country. Stay focused, continue to protest. And the only chance we have, and it's not because I'm running for Congress, Bob, you know me hopefully well enough for that, but the only chance we have at this, Bob, is we have to at least win the House, if not the House and the Senate. If we do not win in November of 2026, I think it's game over. I think Trump, the reason he's accelerating, and he is accelerating, is because I think he now understands if I don't get this done, so I can declare the midterm elections, too fraught with fraud, waste, and abuse, we have to suspend them, which I do believe. So we have to hold the line, and then we have to get organized, and we have to vote. And my big concern, Bob, is Democrats are on the right side of every important issue for the middle class, the working class, and the most vulnerable, always have been. But we got to get our messaging straight to get people to understand what's going on. We can't be distracted. We just can't be distracted. The Democrats are too easily beat to the message. Republicans are great at lying, but they lie very consistently. We will make everybody wealthy. We will take care of everybody. Everybody will be fine.
Do you feel like the messaging is starting to get better from the Democrats? Do you think the Democratic Party, National Democratic Party, is doing enough? What do you think about that?
They're not doing enough, but it's getting better because they're narrowing the focus.
Yeah.
There's two things you have to do to win elections in this country these days, especially like in the type of race I'm running in. A race has to be modified to where you live. It's a national message, but even the national message, Bob, is two parts. What's going on in our country, which we did pretty well in the general election. What's going
Right.
on in our country? This is where they want to go. This is what Trump is doing. This is where they're. We did a terrible job of what we're going to do differently.
Hmm.
The economy's not, it'll get better, but we're doing a great job on the economy. You're
Right.
working two jobs. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah, that's true.
So message A is you point out very succinctly. You don't talk. I mean, I'm not a scholar, but I know the Constitution and I know the court cases that go along with it. If I
Hmm.
stand on stage and start talking about violations of subsector 2 of the 14th Amendment,
Right.
it doesn't mean anything. If your skin's just a little darker than mine, you could get arrested for no reason at all. That should make you uncomfortable. That's what people need to hear. But part two is, what are we going to do differently?
Right.
What are we going to champion? And we can't champion in the South. We can't champion social issues. And
Hmm.
what I mean by social issues is those social warrior issues.
Right.
I have told everybody, and I'll tell your audience, because the people on my staff, I have about 3 folks from the LGBTQ community. Love them dearly. Awesome folks. Every one of them, when they volunteered, I said, here's the deal. You have my full support when I get elected for your dignity and your rights. You are never going to hear me talk about transgender polo
Right.
athletes,
Right.
because frankly, it's a losing issue.
Yeah.
And the message, Bob, for what we have to do is simply this. This is where our messaging gets off beat. We are so passionate about things, Bob, that we want to be right on issues. We want to rally on issues. We want to hug. It's very honorable. The problem is that you need to win
Mhm.
and then do those things,
Right.
not advocate for those things and lose.
That's true.
People contact me all the time and say,
That's
hey,
a
I'm
good
thinking of
point
running
there,
for,
John.
yeah. I think they're running for office, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. When you run for, oh yeah, and what are your main issues? Boom, 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 boom. I said, you're absolutely unelectable in South Carolina.
Yeah.
But I'm passionate about it. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to advocate for it because you'll get 30% of the vote.
Right.
But these are important issues. Yes, they are.
Yeah. I, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, all right. So what makes you think you can beat Fry?
Oh, I will beat Fry.
Why? Why do you say that?
Okay, two things. I got laughed at last August when I said if Trump wins, I didn't think he'd go this fast, Bob. I really did not. I thought we'd be at about where we are now. I thought maybe we'd be at the end of year 1. So he's accelerating because I think he knows if he doesn't, he's going to be severely hampered in his authority. So here's why I'm going to beat Russell Fry. Number one, Russell Fry came to office. He's very politically astute, right? This guy's a quick learner. Half of his adult life now has been in politics, and he's clearly a career guy. He saw an opportunity when Tom Rice had the decency to vote for impeachment on Trump
Right.
after January 6th.
Right.
He didn't campaign on other issues. I don't know what his philosophy is on anything. I don't know where he stands on anything. He literally said, I will never be disloyal to Trump. I had no problem with January 6th. I have no problem with what they did to cops. I had no if Trump thought it was okay, it's okay.
Right.
And he won.
Right.
He is completely locked, Bob, into MAGA. I personally think the guy's probably, from the people I know that know him, I think he's actually probably a pretty moderate guy.
Okay.
But he's on the bandwagon and he can't leave. So he's all in MAGA. Here's what I said in August of last year. If Trump gets back in, what he's going to do is start scaring people, that 17% that voted for him and went, yeah, we thought he was going to do immigration. But he talked about violent people, not the guy who cuts my neighbor's lawn.
Right.
But, so he's scaring a lot of people. And MAGA, and I'm sticking with this, by the end of this year, MAGA is going to be toxic to the majority of America.
Okay.
If you are tied to MAGA, you are in deep trouble, not in the driver's seat like he's enjoyed. Reason 2, I will engage, frankly, for the first time in a long time, the 8 counties of the district, for the county chairs to work with each other, to build a ground game. I have no shortage of volunteers, and we're going to deploy those volunteers where they live, but we're going to have a very strong ground game. He doesn't have a ground game. He's never needed a ground game. If I didn't give him a heads up, Bob, if he jumped on your show right now, I bet you he can't name the 8 counties he represents.
Probably so.
I, he lives in Ori, he stays in Ori, and Ori's elected him
Yeah.
twice now. He
Yeah.
could care less about the rest of the district.
Yeah.
So when I engage, and I've already started fairly significantly to engage in these counties that no one's ever been to, certainly no one ever goes to twice, and I spend a lot of time there, I'm going to drive a great deal of Democrats who are sitting out right now. They
Okay.
are literally in why bother mode because the state's been owned by Republicans for 23 years, and they're getting the poo beat out of them.
Yeah.
So they're like, they just associate all politicians. When I show these folks that it doesn't have to be that way, I get turnout. The third factor, and this is most important because it's the biggest shift, is about 15% of the votes he got, I'll take. And here's why. He's tied to an insane, tyrannical, radical. If this was a moderate Republican guy, I probably wouldn't have a chance.
Right.
But retired Navy Command Master Chief, small business owner. I am proudly a common sense Democrat. I'm not way left.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? This guy doesn't scare me. They're never going to say anything out loud. They're never going to come to a rally. They're never going to say anything on social media, but they're going to go in a voting booth and go, this guy, this Fry guy, you got to be kidding me. How about this Vincent guy? Like I've said out in public, Bob, give me 2 terms to establish some baseline for Democrats in this district, and then decide if we're a better choice than the Republicans. If you're a moderate Republican and you're like, I want to go back to the red shirt guys, fine. The crazy will be over. So that's how I'll win. It's those 3 phases. He's locked and can't move, and he is in a toxic brand. They don't know that they're toxic yet. Trump broke through 40. I think he's at 38, 39% approval. He'll never get below 35 because that's MAGA.
Right.
But think about that. 35% within 6 months, 35% are his hardcore supporters. 65% of the country are going, what the heck? That ain't getting better. As you know, in presidential polling, nobody goes back up.
Well, if he's at 35% and he won the election, which means that he's lost what? He's lost 15% at least, right?
Yeah, what he's lost. This is an interesting number when you look at VoteCast, and you look at the other things that do not the most reliable, but exit polling. I mean, if you look at 3 different systems, but basically here's what they got: 17% of people that said yes, I voted for Donald Trump and I voted for Republicans down line.
Right.
Yes, I think Trump will head us to authoritarianism.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think Trump is too extreme to be president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. You voted for him? Yes, I do, because I don't believe the Democrats are going to help my parents as well. They're not going to help me. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm working this other stuff. So I'm going to give this Trump guy because economy's pretty good first time around. I'm going with him. But that's how you go from 52 to 38 right now, and it'll keep dropping to about 35. What's that? That's about 17% of people that went. They're not coming back.
Okay.
Unless we screw it up. And I mean us by Democrats, not me.
Yeah. All right. So you've been encouraged since you started your campaign, right?
Yes. I've been encouraged that people are starting to realize this isn't as desperate and as hopeless as we've kind of talked ourselves into, right? We're losing congressional races, Bob, by 25, 30, 35 points. And we're like, well, you're not going to make up 30 points. Well, you're not going to make up 30 points if those are real numbers, but they're not real numbers.
Mm-hmm.
This district, and I'll explain to your viewers and listeners, this district is an R plus 12. That's strong Republican. But R plus 12 means if the candidates are about the same,
Mm-hmm.
if the issues are about the same, if the sun is out and it's not a rainy day, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The race should be a 12-point win for Republicans,
Right.
not a 35-point win.
Right. Right. Right.
So that was the first thing that intrigued me. Why are we losing by 30 points?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 12 is the slaughter. I get that. But 12, if you start looking at things, 12 might be. It's a tough battle, but 12 is gettable. Step 1 was getting people to believe this isn't a plus 30 district. It's a plus 12 district.
Okay.
And then when you talk about turnout and you talk about voting and you talk about how crazy this guy is,
Right.
all of a sudden 12 doesn't sound insurmountable. So yes, I'm encouraged that people are going from my line, Bob, is Henry Ford's line, and I've been very successful in my life and my careers with this. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And that
Exactly.
translates this way into elections in District 7, whether it's county council, whether it's school board, whether it's what I'm running for. If your mindset is, that's cute, John, that's good for you, you're a good guy, you got no chance. Well, then in your mind, I have no chance.
Yeah, right.
People ask me all the time, you're so optimistic, man. It's almost like you really think you can win. I don't think I'm going to win. I am going to win. I mean, why would I do this, Bob?
Well, yeah, right. Why? I'm sure you got a lot better things. I don't know about better, but you got a lot of other things you'd like to be doing in your life at this stage of your life, right?
Exactly. I mean, this stuff is brutal. It's nasty, but
Oh, well, I've been just seeing what you've been doing since you began this campaign. What, 2 months ago, something like that?
2.5 months.
Yep. 2.5 months ago. I mean, you've been all over the damn place, all over, and
Yeah.
and that includes about a week or 2 week little pause you took to figure out, what direction are we really going to take this thing?
Yeah.
But you're still not only that, but you're all over social media. I mean, I don't know who's doing your social media, but
We've
you're
got some
doing,
great folks. All volunteers, by the way.
yeah,
I've got a top 2% level graphic artist. I've got
yeah, you
website
do. Your
engineers.
graphics are great.
Those
Absolutely.
are
Yeah,
volunteers.
yeah, that's
Those are
awesome.
people that said, you know what? And here's how it started, Bob. Wow, he's an interesting guy. He's not a politician. He's a different kind of guy.
Yeah,
Yada yada. Yeah, I'm good on
right,
stage. I
right,
speak
right,
professionally.
right.
And they started going, "Now this guy might actually win. He thinks he can."
Yeah,
And I just want people to get to maybe. If they get to maybe, I'll take them the rest of the way. But they got to get to maybe on their own. And the more people that go, maybe, and then they laugh at themselves, and then they go, no, really, maybe this, okay, all
yeah.
right,
See, there you go.
right. So yeah,
All right.
Deb and I run to the finish line. It's interesting. I'll talk momentarily about our pause. First of all, my mistake on language, because I know better than this. When you say suspend, nobody ever comes back from suspend.
Right. When you say suspend, that means it's over with.
So I use the business term, right? When we're looking at a project and we're going, okay, hey, let's stop moving here. Let's suspend this right now. I use the business term in a political world. What we were doing is we made some assumptions when Deb and I built our original plan to win
Right.
that were wrong. It was about infrastructure. It was about how good the structure for the Democratic Party was here. Nothing I haven't talked about, not because they're bad people. It's just that when you think you can't, there's things that you don't necessarily do. We had to pause because I didn't, it just felt unethical for me to continue to ask for money when I'm not sure we could win.
Okay.
It didn't feel right for me to go out and ask people to come out and take time out of their day and come to rallies and do all this other stuff when I'm sure we could win. It just felt incredibly, I don't know, like I was a politician or something. And I couldn't do it. So it said, okay, we're going to stop this. We're going to just focus on, can we restructure? Can we come up with a modified plan to win? And we did.
Right. Okay.
If we had not, everybody gets their money back and we move on. Because I'm not going to do this if I can't win, and I can win. So we're back. We're not going to pause again. This is the plan. I think it's a good plan. It requires a lot of volunteers and a lot of people in positions, and specifically the county chairs, to really work well together. They're capable. It's a good squad. But yeah, it's important for me to get that. People are like, were you just kidding? Was this? No. Yeah. I'm running to win. Well, what was the whole Bush thing? Read my lips, and no new taxes, and then he raised taxes. But anyway,
yeah, that's right. All right. Now, one of your major campaign pillars is supporting veterans, which you are.
Yes.
How is your position stronger than Fry's on veterans and Trump's, by the way?
Yeah, Fry and Trump. I literally, Bob, this baffles me almost more than any other issue is veterans. Most of the guys I serve with are very, very loyal Trump guys. By the way, a large percentage of them have donated to my campaign because they're like, oh, it'd be nice to have somebody honest and crazy up there. Yeah, okay. I just want to watch you on CNN and freaking Fox News. But I digress.
Yeah, right.
They're great at saying we love our veterans. And then Trump makes fun of 6,000 vets getting fired and says they probably weren't doing any work anyway.
Yeah, right.
He makes fun of John McCain's 7 years.
Right.
7 years as a POW, tortured every day. And he says, I like my heroes not captured.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
He has absolutely no respect for veterans. None. He doesn't get it why someone goes and gets their leg blown off for $22,000 a year.
Right.
It literally, that's why he says things like they're losers and they're suckers.
Yeah.
Medal of Freedom is better than the Medal of Honor because the Medal of Honor, it's a bunch of guys are all shot up or dead. He literally said that.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
And Fry is Trump. If Trump's fine with cutting 83,000 from the Veterans Administration to save a couple of bucks,
yeah,
so we can give top 5% folks a little bit of he doesn't care. So they always will do a photo op and they will shake your hand and they will thank you for your service and then they'll screw you.
There you go.
So my whole position on veterans is everybody, Bob, we know this. Everybody says, yes, support our, that's a 98% issue. Should we support our vets? Yes. Should we make sure they have good health care? Yes. Should we make sure they have good mental health care? Yes. Should the disabled folks get front of line for? Yes. Well, then why don't they have any of that?
Yeah, right.
Because we don't call it out, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to get on a committee and, so I let this go here and I want to get that over there. No. When I go on the news and say, I just want to let you know, these 4 Congress folks, Bob, Sue, Bill, and Frank, these guys are they're Republicans. This one happens to be a Democrat in a pretty red district. They're blocking mental health care for 20,000 veterans. I would encourage you to get in front of them and ask them why they're blocking it. That's how you do this.
Yeah,
you call out people. These are issues nobody disagrees with. So why is it happening? Well, it's happening because they give it lip service and then they go make some deal in the back. If you've got the courage to actually, the best thing I have going for me on veterans and on my other issues is I literally am not going to DC for a career. I'm literally not going to DC to be the head of some committee, however that works.
Right.
I'm going to DC to advocate for the people that live in this district. This is a very poor district, Bob, and they haven't been represented in, I don't know, 100 years. If it's good for the district, I'm behind it. I know most of the good is going to be Democrat. I know that because I'm a Democrat. Some of it's not, though. Mm-hmm. And if the Republican stumbles across something that's going to help the people of this district, I'm on board. Right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm there to represent my district. That's my constitutional duty. It's so strange, Bob, is that sounds like a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, come on.
Yeah. Your buddy Fry. Yeah,
my pal. Reckless Russell.
Yeah, well, he just sent a letter to Trump, said, hey, no offshore drilling. And I put a notice on social media that said, hey, he must be scared of John Vincent because he's challenging Trump on a issue. Wow. And I got a bunch of comments there. But anyhow, what's your take on all that?
I actually think he knows about us because I've seen, there's no more hashtag MAGAs.
Right.
There's, oh, look at me. I'm doing a phone-in virtual whatever because I love the people. I'm having mobile help veteran day.
Right.
He is doing stuff he was not doing 3 months ago. And people will go, man, that is one arrogant SOB. Well, I'm not arrogant. I just study this stuff. It's kind of what I do. I study human behavior. He can't shift away from the brand because without the brand, he's completely done. But he is softening and he is trying to show. And I think when he can, he's going to try to say, look, I stood up. So what I think is happening is I think we are beginning to become very effective of saying, this is a binary choice. Do you support this insanity? Or do you support a moderate person who's going to do the fight? See, this is where we miss. It's going to do this, going to do this, going to do this, going to do this. Oh, that's crazy. One guy can't make a difference. Au contraire.
Yeah, right.
If you're not there for personal gain, you are a very rare entity. I'm learning very quickly here. And if you have the gift of gab and the gift of passion, and you have every network on speed dial,
Okay.
what do those guys love? They love controversy, right? They love a guy willing to go up there and mix it a little bit.
Right.
I'll be a media star. And that's not for me. It's for
Yeah.
my advocacy. One person can make a big difference when you don't care if you're not like the favorite son or favorite daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think he's modifying a little bit because I think he's going, this guy's a problem. I honestly believe he's already going, this guy's a problem. I don't think he's beat me, but I don't know. This gets national attention. We're 210 out of 212, Bob. That means we're the 210th likeliest flip in the country. When this gets interesting next February, it's going to get national attention, and it's going to get uncomfortable for him, and it's probably going to get some outside money and things like that because they're going to go, what's going on there?
Yeah, right.
And that's a problem for him because they're counting on, that's a safe red seat. And if it's not so safe, they're going to start questioning him. He knows all that. I think he's a pretty savvy guy. A lot of people say he's a nice guy, but his politics are horrendous for the people in this district. So I think he's softening, and he's going to continue to try to move and pivot and pick an issue that's safe. And so he can, because he doesn't have anything to run on, Bob.
Yeah.
He has nothing to run on.
Oh, okay. All right, John, you got anything else you'd like to tell the people?
Nah, I talk too much as it is.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't
like
think so.
I'd like them to go to vincentforcongress.org. You can learn a lot more about my background, a lot more about my specific policies. Please volunteer. Please donate. If you can give 10, skip. I always tell folks, if you can afford, and if you can't, don't. But if you can afford to skip, one lunch out a month, that's $20.
Right.
I'll take $20 a month because if I get that from 10,000 people, I can keep the lights on. So donate, learn more, get involved. I need lots of people just advocating, going, hey, you know anything about this guy? You should check him out. He's not crazy.
Yeah. That's Vincent for the number 4 Congress.
Vincent, the number 4. The 4 is for our 4 pillars. So Vincent, the number 4 Congress.org.
All right. And your 4 pillars are?
4 pillars are the working class, the middle class, and the most vulnerable. Who is speaking for them? Nobody. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar, the veterans. We already talked about that. The third pillar is the national debt. Okay. It is now the 3rd largest budget item. Mm-hmm. It will absolutely consume this country. The way to reduce that debt, Bill Clinton did it. You need a strong plan, and it takes 6 or 7 years, maybe longer, but you can tackle it. And we have to do that. And then the 4th is just simply I want to actually represent the people of this district. I don't know when they've been represented. It's a very poor district, and there's a lot of good, hardworking folks here who have just been getting screwed forever. So those are my 4 pillars: represent people, fight for our veterans, fight for the working class, the middle class, and the most vulnerable, and tackle the debt in a responsible manner. All right. Those are the 4 pillars.
All right. All right, John. Well, listen, I thank you so much for being with us and doing this little recap of the rallies and your campaign. And I wish you the best of luck, and I thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. And thanks for having me on again, Bob. I appreciate you.
Hey, guys. I'm Bob Gaddy, founder and host of Lean to the Left. I'm excited to share our new book, Hijacked Nation, Donald Trump's Attack on America's Greatness, co-authored with political analyst and professor C.J. Waldron. In Hijacked Nation, we delve into the unfolding story of America's political landscape through a series of essays from leantotheleft.net. We explore how Donald Trump's presidency has transformed American politics, challenging our values and institutions. Hijacked Nation isn't just a book, it's a call to action. It invites you to reflect on what it means to be American in a divided political landscape. Together we can reclaim our nation's greatness. So get your copy of Hijacked Nation today. Visit leantotheleft.net and click on the Books tab to learn more and to order.